Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up, My Legion Adventure, episode 79. Sorry it was a pause, busy, but I really wanted to do these because I am up to the Dave Cockrum era. Did all the backups from Superboy that were by the amazing George Tuska, but now the rest of the volume I'm reading at Archive 10 is all Cockrum. There are 6 Cockrum's drawn stories that were backups in Superboy. What I'm going to do is do 3 this week, and on the next episode do 3 more, and then I will start with a quick revisit of 197, since I've already done an episode of it, since it was my first Legion comic, and then we're just going to kind of go through when the book becomes Superboy in the Legion, and for the most part. So I'm looking forward to that, because there's some issues that have 2 Dave Cockrum Legion stories. Ooh, giddy. So let's get started, and we're going to start with Superboy 184. It was cover dated April 1972. On sale date, February 24th, 1972. It was a quarter. Editor Murray Boltinoff. The title of the story is One Legionnaire Must Go. It's an 8-pager. It's written by Cary Bates, drawn by Dave Cockrum, and inked by Murphy Anderson. Cockrum Anderson is amazing. So we're going to talk about that. It's been reprinted twice. Legion of Superheroes Archives Volume 10, what I'm reading it in, and Showcase presents Legion of Superheroes Volume 4 trade back. Oh, this may be out of date. It is definitely in it. Maybe it's not in the omnibuses. Maybe they didn't. Who knows? All right. The roll call is Legion of Superheroes, of course. Last appeared in 183. Don't appear again until 188. The roll call is Saturn Girl, Ultra Boy, and Matter Eater Lad. This has a nice cover, but it is not about the story we're talking about. So I'm not going to deal with going to it. It's Superboy looking to a mirror. It's creepy. I remember this comic because we had this comic when I was a kid, and because some of the first comics my brother gave me were Legion of Superheroes by Dave Cockrum. That is what you call a good brother. There is no synopsis in Mike's Amazing World, but there is a very short one in the Fandom Wiki, which says, Matter Eater Lad is framed for treason by his own brother and must prove his innocence. So, let me get to that. Hold on, I'm opening my book. This art, when I first saw Dave Cockrum's art as a kid, it may have been this issue or the issue next. It's the splash pages are what kind of jump out at me that I remember reading them. So it's beautiful. I mean, Cockrum and Anderson is so amazing. This has it listed as Anderson and Cockrum, but I'm pretty sure it's Cockrum pencils and Anderson inks. So Ultra Boy is now in charge of the Legion. He's the leader. He's the leader for a very short period of time, I guess, or he's been. I forgot where we were at. We're going to leave. So Saturn Girl heads off to her monitor station. Ultra Boy's on his looking for invaders, and Matter Eater Lad's somewhere else. They're the only 3 Legionnaires in the building. She hears a stray thought. Tonight I'll sabotage this place so my takeover plan can begin. Well, she goes to Ultra Boy because, and they come in and accuse him of treason. She hears another one while he's there, and she is positive it is his thoughts. They hook her up to a machine called an encephalodetector, and she still says it's him and he's a liar. They capture him. He tries to battle Ultra Boy, but not so good when your power's eating stuff. They lock him up in a cage with the bars are painted with a poison, so he just scrapes the poison off and eats the bar, and then flies off to his homeworld in one of their groovy new spaceships that are very Star Trek inspired. They're gorgeous. It's one of my favorite superhero team kind of designs of all time. So he goes and he hooks up his brother Renkel, and you find out that Renkel has framed him because they were this starts with them all of it. I messed this on the splash page. It's Matter Eater Lad went to Bismol to have lunch with his parents for this special holiday. Ultra Boy, Far and Rimber. They're talking about their past in it, so they're from different planets, but Matter Lad goes home, finds that his brother, at their last family gathering, put a recording and transmitting device in his stomach that wouldn't be digested by their super things. And they fight. There's some neat stuff. Oh yeah, Matter Eater Lad can eat anything that is made of matter, and energy is matter, so he eats a ray beam he's shot at. But he's knocked unconscious. He's hurt. And he transmits his thought across space to Saturn Girl because he feels, the little brother, Renzo, feels bad about hurting his brother. Calls, they come and help, and they revive him, and it finds out they make up. They're brothers. They make up. And it's got a nice, like, 1960s, 70s thing where they apologize to each. Renzo apologizes. He tells his brother, go ahead and send me off to the detention police. Prison guards, okay. But Matter Lad's like, hey, you're my brother, blah, you rehabilitate yourself by saving me and calling for help. So, hey, I'm going to be recovering from this damage, so why don't you be my cover for me? Be my temporary replacement, which never happened. I don't remember it. I think this character comes back, but I don't remember where. So overall, it was, when I was 8 years old, I loved it. I loved it. It's right now, it's still kind of a very Silver Age plot. The brother, it's just, I don't want to call it a formula, but there's not a lot of depth to the story. It's a fun, cute little action. It takes place. It's neat. You get to meet some of their background, which is one thing I say I love about Legion. All the characters have a history and a background. So it was a neat little thing. The art is the best thing about it. And when you have a more modern looking artist, this is kind of like a switch in art styles. Dave Cockrum is definitely, before Byrne and Perez and stuff like that, I think he's one of those guys of that generation, that wave of new comic artists. And I think he's one of the greats. He is one of the great costume designers in comic history. And we're going to see some of his new Legion comic costumes coming up. But, Matter Eater Lad's costume is perfect the way it is. He doesn't change it. Saturn Girl's in the yet pink bikini, which even as a kid I found kind of weird. Like, how do you fight in that? And Ultra Boy's costume is, you don't need to mess with it. So, but, everything's good. The spaceships are great. It's simple, but it's not reinventing the wheel. So now we're going to go to Superboy 188. So this comic came out on May 25th, 1972, cover dated July 1972. It's got a Nick Cardy cover of Superboy pulling a train out of the street, which has nothing to do with our story. It's editor again, Murray Boltinoff. Creative people on this is Cary Bates Ryder, penciler Dave Cockrum, inker Murphy Anderson. Been reprinted multiple times, same two places. Roll calls: Lightning Lad, Phantom Girl, Chameleon Boy, Mon-El, Brainiac 5, Superboy, Ultra Boy, and Mordru is the villain. He has not been seen since 173 and will not be seen again until Justice League 147. Again, there's no synopsis in Mike's Amazing World, so I'm using the one sentence one from the DC Wiki. Blood crystals created by Mordru enable the evil sorcerer to make Chameleon Boy set a death trap for Superboy. This has a different roll call, but because they put some as supporting characters. Oh, never mind. So this one's got another new tale from Legion. It shows Superboy bearing Mordru. Looks like he has captured him by himself, and that was seen off camera. Kind of a waste of Mordru. This is an era where he's in these little mini things, and he can be easily stopped. I like it when he's absolutely terrifying and unstoppable. He is their big bad. Him and Universo and Darkseid and the Fatal Five. He is their big bad, and he should be shown a little more respect. That's I'm gonna say it now. Where Superboy's burying him. And what we hear before, there's a little caption above the titles. Until recently, Superboy was shown traveling to the future where he joined the other members of the Legion, the famous band of superpowered teens that combats crime in the 30th century. But this saga begins in the 20th century, as the Boy of Steel captures the wicked space sorcerer Mordru after a grueling battle which ushers in the curse of the blood crystals. And it shows Superboy bearing him. And now we have to remember that Mordru is powerless when buried alive. It's been buried in the earth. And Superboy finds these crystals and he's thinking, look at them dazzling, so gleaming with the color of blood. But if I had given Mordru a chance to follow his plan and spread these things all over Earth, I'd be in big trouble. Because Mordru created these crystals, magical crystals, to make me a despised outcast. Any man who gaze upon them will instantly be possessed by the insane hatred for me. So he mushes them all together and throws them into space. And by chance, this is a caption, I'm just reading it. By chance is never reliable, and any predictable for the magical crystals are now fated to be found 1,000 years later in the 30th century. And this legion of satellite, controlled by Chameleon Boy, captures the crystals, doesn't know anything about them, and he travels back in time, disguised as... Well, Chameleon Boy comes hopping in after he's... Okay, so... Blah, 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 I'm getting all confused. Well, he stares into the crystals that he has found, and he starts to hate Superboy. And then next thing we see is Ultra Boy coming in looking for him, and then a small shuttle from the space station lands, and Ultra Boy goes, hey, I'm going to go back to the 50s, because that's when they're saying that Superboy's living in the 50s. And Ultra Boy travels, gets in the time cube, and disappears, but then all of a sudden he calls. Ultra Boy was knocked unconscious by Chameleon Boy, and Chameleon Boy disguised him. So Lightning Lad and Brainiac 5 jump in the time cube and fly back, where they are met by Superboy with a snarky evil grin. Must be Chameleon Boy. So he convinces Lightning Lad and Brainiac 5 that he's Superboy and it's nothing big, that Chameleon Boy has been knocked unconscious and he's trying to cure him. But what you don't know is that was actually Chameleon Boy, like I told you. And the body they were seeing on the ground by the machine was just a covering that looked like Chameleon Boy, and it was Superboy underneath it with kryptonite, little kryptonite chunks of kryptonite rocks stuck on his chest. We then see a flashback of how Chameleon Boy, disguised as an elephant, shot those kryptonite rocks on his chest, disguised as the elephant. And then Superboy does what Superboy does. He's still got some of his powers left. He uses his super suction, sucks in the pebbles, and then shoots them to further away, and where he digs a big hole in the ground and throws Chameleon Boy in it, hoping that the fact that Mordru can't use his powers while buried in Earth, that if you're victim of those said powers, if you're under Earth, buried in the Earth, it goes away. And Superboy saves the day. That one I liked more so than the other one. It's still a waste of Mordru. I will stand by that. He is a bigger bad of bads than that. But I do like the little story. I think it is kind of one of those tropes, but I just think Cary Bates kind of makes it work better, and Dave Cockrum's art is helping even more. Just liked it a little more. Again, the art is amazing. Mordru looks great. Chameleon Boy, everybody, it's just spot on, folks. It's just find these comics somewhere and read them. It's got a very early 70s DC aesthetic, which when I look at it, there's a sense of nostalgia. But this is some of the earliest Legion I ever read, and it just blows my mind how good it is, even when they're the short ones for the most part. All right, we're going to jump to Superboy 190. So 190 was published July 25th, 1975, cover dated September 72. Mary Boltinoff. It's a 20-cent comic. It's called Murder the Leader, 11 pages. Legion Superheroes are the main characters. Again, Bates, Cockrum, Anderson, reprinted Legion of Superheroes Archives Volume 10, which is and Showcase Legion Superheroes 4 trade back. I'm pretty sure this is in an omnibus. Roll calls: Lightning Lad, Saturn Girl, Dual Damsel, Phantom Girl, Colossal Boy, Invisible Kid, Bouncing Boy, Ultra Boy, Mon-El, Dream Girl, Karate Kid, Shadow Lass. Villains are Therak and Valdis from the Fatal Five. There is no synopsis, but the one in the fan wiki is actually a little longer because the story's a little more complicated. The Legion is conducting an election for a new leader. Mon-El and Saturn Girl are the top two contenders for the position. As the members are voting, Mon-El and Saturn Girl are teleported away by an energy beam. They arrive on a small planetoid where they are immediately attacked by Valdis. He shoots a deadly bolt at the pair of heroes, but Saturn Girl blocks it and sacrifices herself for Mon-El's safety. Saturn Girl appears dead as Mon-El continues to battle the giant behemoth. Mon-El soon discovers that the villain Therak is actually controlling Valdis. His plan is to murder every single Legion leader in an effort to disband their organization. Mon-El then comes up with a clever plan of joining Therak. He proposes that with his help they could conquer the Legion even faster. Therak agrees to the deal and proclaims himself to be the new leader of the Legion. Therak is then attacked within moments of his proclamation. He had neglected to remember that Valdis was programmed to destroy every Legion leader, including Therak. Valdis then annihilates Therak. Well, he melts half of him in half, his metal half, which gives Mon-El and Saturn Girl the chance to return to Earth and resume their election. Valdis then flies off to the sky to wander the universe. This was a really good one. I really remember this one as a kid. Them sitting in the thing. It's another election. I love that. I'm going to do a whole thing. I think I'm going to do a whole episode about Legion elections in the original Silver Age era, because that was a big deal. We all voted, and I voted. I was very happy when my guy Mon-El won finally. Not Mon-El. Ooh, I just washed my mouth out with soap. Element Lad's my Legionnaire. But, it's got some of the tricks of, something's always going to happen when they're doing an election. And I think the art's great. I like the setup. Valdis is a great character. I think he's made better. The Fatal Five get better and better starting in this era, I think. And I liked him before, but I really liked it. Valdis becomes a sympathetic character. Therak's a good bad guy. Saturn Girl feigns being killed so she can do some stuff in the background. And while Mon-El deals with Therak on his own, you see two different types of leadership. But she's helping him behind the scenes without saying, but they're both doing their best. And even Supergirl, Saturn Girl is watching Mon-El trick Therak by telling, Mon-El says, hey, I'll be on your side. We'll do this quick. And he'll be, Therak's going, that would be better than the Fatal Five. And then he, like an idiot, says he'll be the new leader, and Valdis destroys him. It's like, it shows you what great leaders they both were. Mon-El's been a leader already. Saturn Girl was a leader. It's a fun story with beautiful art. A lot of fun. And that's it for this time. I know these are kind of simple. I hope you're enjoying these. I don't do them as often because I feel a little nervous that, they're not the greatest, because some of this stuff is pretty simplistic and I don't have really super uber in-depth thoughts. When this is the regular book and I'm seeing the series take shape and we're doing 2 issues or at least 2 stories a day, I think it's the backup feature part of Legion that I found trying, even with, because I talked about the action stuff being hard for me to get through this time. The George Sessions stuff was nice because I like the art. Right now, it's just, I'm enjoying the art more than in the stories, but I think the stories are a little bit better. And Cary Bates is right; he's written a couple good ones, and I'm looking forward to it. And then we've got other people come back and write, and I'm looking forward to it. But folks, that's it for now. Hey, probably, if I get this done today, this will go up, and then on this weekend there will be an episode of hopefully me and Kirby talking about GalaxyCon here in Richmond, because he's going to come down this weekend and we're going to go meet Jim Shooter and Steve Englert and have a good time. But check that out. If you're hearing this in the future, I hope me and him had fun, and just listen to the next episode to see if we did. But as always, be safe, be smart, be kind to one another, because that's what the world needs, is kindness, and read some comics. Read some Legion.